We're back. On today's episode of Kindred 360, we introduce a new teammate and we let you know what's been going on the last year. Let's go.
You're listening to the Kindred 360 podcast with your hosts, Pastor Rod Idle, Matt Smith, Lindsay Terry, and Chris Moore. The Kindred 360 podcast is an extension of Kindred Church in Midlothian, Virginia. At Kindred, we help people find their purpose. We believe that God designed us to be surrounded by others who love and care for us. We call this your tribe. We invite you to be part of our tribe today, so enjoy the fun, inspiration, and introspection, all in today's episode of Kindred 360. Now, Pastor Rod Idle.
Holy moly, we're back. How about that? Good to see you guys.
Yeah.
All right.
Good to be back.
I haven't seen Matt in a year. I don't know where he's been, but it's good to have all of you here.
I've been bathing in the baptistry and sleeping in the back closet.
All right. Well, we're glad you finally bathed. It is, man, it's good to be back in the cellar. The Studio 360 cellar. What do you call the Studio 77 Kindred 360?
It's been so long we forgot the name.
Studio. Yeah, something like that. Anyway, it's good to be back with you. Hey, Mike, how you doing?
I'm great.
Yeah, good to see you. We have a new teammate. I'm kind of excited. I'm going to introduce her in a second. Topher, how you been, buddy?
Hey, I'm great. I'm
Yeah?
super excited to be here.
Yeah, you are super excited, aren't
Yeah,
you?
I am.
Yeah, Lindsay Lou?
I'm really, really glad we're starting this again.
All right,
Yeah.
Matthew.
I'm glad to be squeezed with some of my favorite people right here.
There you go.
Let's go.
Notice the new conglomerate. I asked Mike, I said, could I not sit with them? Because we're, in case you don't know, if you're listening to this, we're also on video. We're on YouTube and Instagram, I think. And so this is something that you can watch as well as listen to. And what they don't know is Mike is going to edit that side out, and it's just going to be me and our new teammate here. I am excited to be back. I really am. I think this is going to be a fantastic year. And you probably noticed that 2020 could be described a lot of ways. Fantastic may not be one of the terms you use. Because of that, because when the COVID hit and all that kind of stuff and all the shutdown, we shut down as a team. And this was probably one of the biggest things we missed as a team is our podcast. And we heard that from a lot of people. When are you going to do a podcast again? And so now that we feel like we're back on a track, and our goal, we talked about this as staff quite a bit, our goal is to get back to what we're used to doing. And this is one of those. And so in an effort to keep you more informed, in an effort to help you understand what's really going on in our world, we have a new segment. We have a new teammate, and her name is Nikita, and we're bringing you hard-hitting news. Nikita, welcome.
Today, magicians celebrate 100 years of sawing people in half. A man has his wallet returned 53 years later. There are concerns about the new local Starbucks already tilting before its grand opening. These are your headlines. This is Nikita with Kindred 360 News. Back to you, Rod.
Man, you're intense. Wow. She's just like, woo. We got to get her to lighten up a little bit. So anyway, it was great you're going to hear more from Nikita in just a little bit. And I think we're really going to be blessed to have her on the team. And I'm excited about what she's going to be doing here with us. Like I said, Kindred 360 podcast is something that we did for like a year and a half or so, didn't we? Mm-hmm. Wasn't it about a year and a half? And then all of a sudden it got shut down. And we just felt like we want to do this. We want to start this all over again. And I'm sure to appreciate Mike Resendiz, our technical director, our engineer, our host, our producer, all those other things, with his ideals that he's given us on how to do this in a better way. Don't you guys appreciate Mike for what he's done?
Yeah,
absolutely.
For sure.
So Mike has a lot of expertise on this. And when I asked him, I said, when we finally got together and said, okay, we want to bring the podcast back. And he said, well, you have to do it on YouTube. He just made that abundantly clear. So I don't know if it's a law or just a good idea, but that's what he wants. So we are coming to you with videos. So that kind of changes our whole dynamic, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell with Lindsay and with Matt and myself, like you care how you look. And then
Clearly.
I just clearly forgot that we were filming today.
You didn't get the memo at all.
That was like the first thing he said this morning when we showed up.
Yeah.
I forgot we were filming.
Yeah, he should have got the memo. All right, but anyway,
What do you like? You like the new setup?
Yeah.
I like the new setup. You
Yeah.
guys,
Yeah,
I did.
I dig it.
you know, Mike was going to do something different on the walls, and I said, no, I want you to keep the Muhammad Ali Sonny listed thing. That's classic. I like the way we're set up because I don't have to sit as close to you guys.
The dumb won't rub off.
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of value there. I do love the ad of Kindred 360 News. I think that's awesome. So I'm going to tell you that I told you that you're going to hear more from Nikita. And so what I want to do is I want to send it over to her and let her do her news takes. Would you guys like that?
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
hear it.
So I really think, Nikita, are you ready? And I want you to understand that you are going to be subject to comments from the peanut gallery as you go through this. So
We look like we're three judges on a game show.
Yeah.
Where's the buzzer?
Where's the buzzers? We need buzzers. And who's going to be Simon Cowell? All right.
Matt's the meanest.
So
Ouch.
without
I was just about to say Nikita gets the golden buzzer every time.
Oh, that's precious.
without further ado, we bring you newswoman Nikita. Nikita.
Well, today we're going to be talking about magicians from all around the world. We'll be getting together online to celebrate 100 years of that landmark performance. Magician historian Mike Cavaney said this took off and became the most influential and the most famous illusion, in my opinion, that there's ever been. The magician wasn't doing the trick to an inanimate object. He was doing it to a human being, which raised it up to a whole new level. Celebrity magician David Copperfield came up with his own version, the Death Saw, where he was the one tied down to the platform as a giant rotary blade sliced him in two. Sometimes he actually got injured. I got cut a few times by the blade because the blade was a little bit off. You know, stages are all different every theater you visit, Copperfield stated.
Is that
Wow.
real news?
So-
Wow, that's actually
Wow.
pretty
Hang on. So these are real news?
Yeah, well, she's going to make them up.
No, I made him
I
up.
literally thought we were just making
She's
stuff
really
up.
good if she's making that up.
Right.
I'm.
Right.
You guys didn't know I'm like a
They've
part-time
only been
writer.
doing this for
Yeah.
100 years?
So it's been 100 years since they've been cutting people in half. Is
Yep.
that it?
Yep.
Today? As of
Very
today?
cool. Not according to the Bible. Because prophets were put in logs and they were cut in half.
But it wasn't magic.
But that was real.
Different audience and purpose.
Just say it. All right, let's go. You got
Okay.
something else?
Yes, I do.
All right, let's go.
Keep
for it.
going.
The missing wallet. Paul Christian finally got his wallet back after he had lost it 53 years ago in Antarctica.
That's nuts.
Grissom of San Diego, California, arrived in Antarctica in October 1967 as a Navy meteorologist. At some point during his 13-month assignment, he lost his wallet and eventually forgot about it. I was just blown away, Grissom told the San Diego Tribune after he received the wallet by mail. There was a long series of people involved who tracked me down and ran me to ground. Some of those mementos included a pocket reference card on what to do during an atomic, biologic, and chemical attack, a bear ration punch card,
We might need
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
a tax withholding statement, and receipts for money orders sent to his wife.
Wow. What would be
That's crazy.
If you lost your wallet from 5 years ago, what kind of things would you have lost that you don't have now?
Like $2?
I can tell you from when I was a kid, it'd have been the Blockbuster card.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I kept mine
Yeah.
for the longest time, and then I lost it in a move, and I was really upset.
What is a
I loved
Blockbuster card?
it. The Blockbuster app card?
I lost a
I'm serious.
Guitar Center card, but then I found it and I was like, oh, I wonder if this thing still works. Yeah, it still works.
Nice.
Nice. Very cool. Well, that's cool. All right. You got any more?
Our last story here.
Last story. All right. You just gave me a dirty look. You all right?
She's like, stop talking.
Yeah.
Let
All
me
right.
do
Let
my
me get
job.
through this, Mike.
Okay. All right. I'm
I'm
good.
sweating already as it is.
It's the ruffles.
Hence why we
It
have
is the
separate.
ruffles.
Hence why we have separate tables.
Yeah, I
Maybe
need to
if you
change.
wouldn't wear the pirate shirt. Anyway, go.
I'm going to go buy a new one after this one.
Pirate
I'm going to go buy another
Be a
one.
pirate.
Yes, I do. I can fly. All right. They love that one. They love that one.
Rock on, Nikita.
I love the news.
All right. So, as you know, the new Pizza Hut in Chesterfield Shopping Center. I'm sorry, the old Pizza Hut in the Chesterfield Shopping Center.
Yeah, get rid of those. Those are the worst.
Your arch nemesis.
That's Matt's favorite pizza, by the way, everybody. He loves Pizza Hut.
Gives me the bubble guts every time. Just mow them down.
Let me finish my segment, Matt.
This is from the spiritual burrito over here.
I'm the spiritual burrito.
All right, I'm going to start that over again.
Wow.
You got one sentence in. You're going to start it over.
Didn't even get through the whole sentence. I got halfway. All right. So the old Pizza Hut in Chesterfield Shopping Center is making a way to be turned into a Starbucks. Macchiatos and lattes soon will be flowing from the site of a former pizza restaurant in Chesterfield. Plans call for the Starbucks to raise a one-story, 3,300 square foot building and replace it with a one-story, 2,500 square foot store that includes a drive-through, an outdoor patio, and 70 parking spaces. The Starbucks is being developed by Miami, Florida-based Frontier Development. The building seems to be tilting, but plans on opening still in March. Starbucks and Frontier could not be reached for a comment.
Hang on, like
Nothing wrong with
literally
that.
tilting? Or is
walk
that
out-
a phrase
No.
that means
It looks
something?
like it's tilted.
It looks like it. Walk out the front of the church and just look over at it, and you'll see it, and you'll swear it's like this.
Really?
Yeah.
Also,
It's really,
my budget
really
of my Starbucks is going to go up.
And
Why do
And I
they
am-
need 70 parking spaces? That's what I was hung up on. That's a lot of parking spots.
That's weird.
I was knew Mike would be really, really excited with the Starbucks coming in that close to the church.
Yeah, now I won't feel bad to ask you to get me a Starbucks in the morning on Sunday.
Hey, well, you shouldn't feel bad. I'm glad to do that for you. But all right, Nikita. Well, listen, you did a great job.
Yeah.
Great job.
Thank you.
I didn't do my sign-off.
Okay, well, I'm not telling you to walk away. Or
There it is.
anything. 1, 2, 3. Do your sign off.
I'm Nikita with Kindred 360 News, in the wrong place at the wrong time. Did I say it right? Okay.
See, for people who don't know Nikita, for her to be so serious for
So
this
hard.
long is like one of the most difficult things we've been asking her to do.
sweating buckets right
She
now.
laughs all the time, and she's a joy to be around. And so it's funny watching her like, this is the Nikita News. Nobody else got any comment? Okay,
Is that
great.
how she
I
sounded?
think she's a joy. Everybody else doesn't. Everybody else
Listen,
can't stand your guts. So,
what many people may not know on
I've
this,
eaten all these.
Nikita is the wife of Nestor the mailman.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, so she's joined our team. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. But before we get into our stuff, let's turn it over to Nestor the mailman.
Hello, Kindred 360 family. This is Nestor, your mailman, with a delayed package due to COVID-19 from 1 Peter chapter 5, beginning at verse 1. So I exhort the elders among you, as a fellow elder and a witness of the sufferings of Christ, as well as a partaker in the glory that is going to be revealed. Shepherd the flock of God that is among you, exercising oversight, not under compulsion, but willingly, as God would have you, not for shameful gain, but eagerly, not domineering over those in your charge, but being examples to the flock. And when the chief shepherd appears, you will receive the unfading crown of glory. Likewise, you who are younger, be subject to the elders. Clothe yourselves, all of you, with humility toward one another. For God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. Until next time, press on.
Man, I love having Nestor back, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
It's-
miss that mailman.
It's funny, since the last time he talked, he became an elder, and you notice the scripture was about listening
yeah.
to elders. I think there might be a little power struggle there. I'm not sure what to talk to
everybody.
Yeah, but anyway, it's great to have Nestor back with us and sharing and things like that. And you know, we're seeking out new things and new ways of doing this. There's probably going to be a renewal of some of the things that we've had in the past, whether it be hot topics or top songs, things like that. But there's also going to be an additional things, as you saw with Nikita. We want to do more of that as well. Maybe we're going to have our spiritual barista Topher back
Maybe.
sharing with us. But I think we can all say
So I have one more idea for sorry to interrupt you, but
That's okay.
One thing that I think we're going to start doing also is a cooking segment.
I like how you
a
threw
cooking
that
segment.
Oh,
A cooking segment.
That
I'm
is-
not
That was
eating
me.
anything Rod cooks. I'm just going to say
Yeah.
that right
I don't
now.
blame
Hey,
you.
he makes
like
good breakfast
tasty
burritos.
treats with tofu.
The twist is what you can do a cooking at your desk. So if you're at work and you need to cook something, you can cook it
Do we
at
have
your
like
desk.
a
George
hot
Foreman
top
grill.
thing, whatever those called?
Yeah, we're going to do a
Cooktop?
little cooktop thing.
Hot
We're going to
plate?
cook hot dogs in a coffee maker and put the buns on top and let those get
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
disgusting.
steamed. Yeah.
Okay.
Coffee infused
Yeah,
dogs.
I'm game with any of that as long as you're willing to risk your whole studio burning.
I mean,
down.
I put bacon
okay
in
with
a
that.
George Foreman grill by my bed.
Fire extinguisher is already ordered.
Don't you?
Huh? What'd you say?
So the fire extinguisher is already ordered.
So, anyway, I'm pretty excited about this, guys. I really am. I'm glad to be back with you. And, I thought what we would do today is maybe just a little bit out of the norm. I know usually that I have like a devotional time or whatever, and I want to do something a little bit different. I want to do a little give and take. In other words, I'm going to talk about some things, and what I want to do is review our last year, basically, and then preview what's coming up at Kindred. Would you guys like to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And I think that people would like to hear that a little bit too. So let's start with the review, okay? Now, I've thought about this quite a bit, and truthfully, there were 4 main things that really hit me in 2020 that hit Kindred, made the biggest influence. The first one, obviously, is the new location, right?
Yeah.
The new building. And, I got thinking, I don't want to just say that. I want to remember some things. And I think Matt, especially, because I turned a lot of this over to Matt. When COVID hit, Matt's job was going to change because he couldn't do small groups. He couldn't do discipleship groups, things like that, because we weren't allowed to meet. And so what we did, if you remember, is we kind of just went all online. I'm going to talk about that in a second too. So I asked Matt, because he has such attention to detail and he makes lists over everything. I said, I want you to handle the building project. And so he did willingly, and he did a great job. But
Yeah.
Matt, do you remember some of the struggles we had? Like, we left our other place the end of February. So it was a year ago, probably
Yeah.
this week, right?
Yeah.
And then we went over to the building, and how long it took to get just a building permit. You remember that?
Well, number one, you can all now call me Matt, your spiritual general contractor.
Okay.
Number 2, yes, absolutely. And the thing that Rod and I were joking about, thinking about this at staff meeting yesterday, was how many times we went back and forth down to the building commission to drop off papers. And I was telling them, the team, that we literally spent about $250
Just copies.
of just $5 plan-sized papers.
Yeah.
And it was insane.
It
They were
was crazy.
sick of us by the end, and
But-
I would turn on the charm, no go.
Yeah. Well, after a while, you couldn't even turn on the charm because you'd have to drop it in a box. They'd
Oh,
have
yeah,
to come
that's right,
downstairs
yeah.
and get it. You couldn't meet with them face to face, couldn't go in the building. It was crazy just to get a building permit. And I remember how we celebrated. Remember, I took a picture of it. We hung it on the wall, and I took a picture of it and put it out and said, man, we got the building permit.
Yeah.
That's the start. And we did a lot of good work. Remember the struggles with the fire marshals?
Oh my
Yes.
word!
Oh, my gosh.
I thought that was never gonna get solved.
Right. I mean, it was hard getting them out there. It was hard doing it, but we got it done. Remember the alarm system struggles?
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. We'd go and we had plans. We got it all set, and then we're ready to roll. It's like, no, y'all got to change everything.
Yeah, right.
Because we had a different guy
Yep.
step in at that point.
Oh my gosh, It was crazy. You're talking really loud, by the way.
That's always
Yeah,
number
that's
one.
that's Matt
But I
every
will
day.
move the mic.
I mean, you ever know, he was talking and my left ear is bleeding right now. But anyway, I thought it was full of uphill battles at first. I mean, even contractor issues and all that kind of stuff. We had them, but then I'll tell you something. I think it's important to remember some of the really good stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. One, we certainly had a fantastic landlord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Oh, you ain't lying. I love this guy.
My gosh, especially I know that probably a lot of people have had good experiences and they've been like, yeah, he's good, but I don't mind giving his name. His name is Gary. Gary's our landlord. And compared to what we had, it's like night and day. I mean, it's just an absolute blessing. And he helped us through this process. He got people to come out and look at our facility. He go, I know a guy, let me give him a call.
Yeah.
And things like that. He came down and encouraged us. He was so patient through this whole process. So that was a good thing. And I don't want to forget the good things.
Right.
I want to remember that the contractor that we ended up hiring did such a great job, brought his team in, put a
Yeah.
lot of pressure on all of them, and they got so much done
So
quickly.
quickly.
That's right.
Man, the first thing you know, you look up and you're seeing the walls down there. I want to remember our plumbing contractor who came in just a couple days, good old Chip Pasker, and he came in and they installed the bathrooms and all that kind of stuff. Just an amazing help in all that.
Yeah.
I want to remember our free carpeting from Journey Church.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was
I mean,
huge.
remember walking back into that warehouse and just seeing stacks and stacks and stacks of carpet squares and like, holy cow. And I said, what do we get? He goes, whatever you want, take it all. I don't care. He wants it out of there, right?
We walked in thinking maybe we can, do the green room.
Right.
And it's like
Right,
there's enough
right.
to do the entire building.
Right,
building.
right. It is crazy. That was such a nice thing. And then my buddy Matt Gannum up north, who said, "Listen," and he sent down a team that installed it all, saved
Yeah.
us thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Sent down a team and they installed it all. And so next thing you know, we are getting all this done. And honestly, it's easy to complain about last year, but the COVID thing kind of helped us a little bit because we wouldn't have had a building to go into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
It would have been rough.
We would have been wondering what we're going to do. So the quarantine actually gave us time. And so finally in June, we were able to start meeting in there, and slowly but surely every week the people would come back, they'd see the building done a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more until we are 99% done now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we got little knickknacks here and there. We got stuff. We have little things on the wall that need to be fixed. Maybe we got some pieces of flooring that's not in yet, stuff like that. So we'll get all that done. And we're getting some work done now. I'm going to let Matt talk about in a little bit. But anyway, what a great thing. I think every one of us would say we are so glad we made the move.
Yeah.
And we're in a building 3 times the size. We got a kids area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
That's
mean,
the most exciting
yeah,
part to me.
isn't it?
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, in the entire existence of the church, they had never had a permanent kid space.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
Awesome, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, we're
really
blessed.
thankful.
Yeah, I hope that we never stop giving thanks to God on that.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Because sometimes, we're around it a lot and we kind of forget, wow, what the Lord did. So it's good to remember those things. Kind of like David before he went into battle, the Lord gave me the lion, the Lord gave me the bear, the Lord will give me this, right? We want to remember what the Lord did for us when we
Yeah.
come up against it again.
Right.
And it was a real
good.
faith stretching experience too.
Wasn't it?
Like you're saying, we had a space, our last space was, we had lost some additional renting space, but we ended up with 2,600 square feet. And now we're in a building just shy of, what is it? Is it
8,700.
Yeah, 8,700. And talk about just a stretch in mortgage rent. And
But it's not 3 times the rent.
It's not.
That's a blessing.
Yeah.
It's not, no, but it was double. And, we had some people, can we do this? And it just was cool to sit back and say, let's see what God's going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Awesome stuff. Another thing that hit me was the online presence of the church, right? We always were on Facebook, but man, I remember from mid-March to mid-June, and Mike, you can chime in on this. You'd have to record our services. Lindsay would record the music. Mike, you'd record me teaching or Matt teaching.
That was a challenge.
That was a challenge.
Yes,
wasn't it?
that's why we
Oh,
weren't
man.
doing the podcast. We were leaning on Mike so hard right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
the problem is that I always put a little too much into it.
Yeah.
Where then I'm like, what's in my head, I want to achieve that. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh,
Why did I do this?
This is
Yeah.
above and
It
beyond.
looks great. It looks great. But I'm like, I got to do this like
how about
50
the time?
times.
Yeah.
How about the time we went to the hill
Yeah.
with Richmond behind me?
Yeah.
And I preached there on
Yeah.
that hill.
I mean, the shots look great.
Yeah,
It looked
and I was
good,
freezing
yeah.
my butt
But
off.
it was like,
Yeah, this is a good day to do it.
I was like, let's go to every location in town and do a sermon. How about we try to get our
Ron,
calendars
how
in
do you
line?
feel about skydiving? Yeah, right.
Hey, that would have been awesome.
Would it? Yeah. It's the first time a preacher screamed his whole sermon. But anyway, yeah, wow. And I remember even saying that, man, if we had to do that all the time, I'd be working at Taco Bell. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I couldn't. But you know what? We're still working on our online presence. We're trying to get better. We want to do other things differently. We want to order more cameras. We want to do things a little bit more tech oriented. Right now, we're doing it really well, but we're doing it through a phone still, and stuff like that. And we want to change some of that. And I think God's going to provide for that. So I'm excited about what's coming down the road with that. A few weeks ago when we had to go online because of the weather, and we came in and we had a tiny congregation because some people don't get the news. They don't have Facebook or whatever, and so they didn't get the news. Hey, we're not having church, and so some people showed up in the middle of that ice junk.
There
right?
was 11 of us who attended church together, and everybody
And
else
so,
online.
I mean, that was cool, and I don't care what anybody says. I'd much rather meet face to face. I miss that greatly, but you also have to have an online presence, and I think we're getting better at it. That was a big thing we really started elevating at the church. Another thing, how about the staff change? Right, we had some staff change.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
it's kind of interesting. We had a situation. Many of you remember Stacy McCoy. Stacy was our admin. She was our children's director. She did a lot of things for the church. A lot of things, didn't she?
Yeah,
She wore a lot of hats. Well, over last year, in the middle of last year, they bought a house and moved. And they moved about 45 minutes to an hour away. I don't know whether you guys knew that or not. But they moved a long way away. And so it made doing some of those things a little bit more difficult. And through time, she came to the decision that she was going to move on. And so I had the job of starting to look for people to do her job. And one of the things that I decided when we were doing that was I'm not going to put that under one person. I'm going to divide that up a little bit. So the first person I talked to was for our finances, because we had to get that in line right away so we could keep paying our bills, stuff like that. And so I talked to Ann Kershaw. Now, if you don't know Ann, you'll get to know her more. Her husband's one of my elders. Great, great lady. I'm going to ask you guys to go ahead and give an impression of Ann. Not impression, like, but you know what I mean.
Yes, right. I can get you.
Well, she has a New York accent, but
She does, yeah.
No, I love Anne. She's funny and she's super patient.
Yeah.
And just incredibly helpful and resourceful.
Yeah.
She's been really great.
Yeah.
Yeah, Anne's been such a great addition, especially I'm super grateful to her too, because she's been able to work with Savannah and myself individually on some stuff too that we wouldn't have had otherwise. Cool. And it was awesome. Yeah, super grateful for her.
One of the first weeks, she came in and was just, I don't know, picking up a checkbook or something. And I just happened to be in the building, and then I sat down and we were talking, and we ended up talking for about an hour.
Yeah.
And it was really cool. It was one of the first really long
Did she
conversations.
get to say anything?
No, she didn't. Okay. But, no, she talked a lot, talked about her family, and it was just really cool. Because the one thing that I even called you, Rod, afterward, and I just said, hey, you know what? I really love Ann because she's got a heart for this. And she's easygoing, and she's just such a servant. I don't know how many times in a meeting and stuff we just say, Ann, can you help me with this? And, okay, we'll figure that out. I mean, it's just great.
We're not going to get a chance to have her in a meeting for a while because Ann also does taxes, and she's going to be a little busy. In fact, her husband, Kirk, I play golf with, and he let me know recently that the only days he can play golf is Saturday and Sunday. I was like, well, I'm a little busy on Sunday, but I might be able to make a Saturday. But another person we added to the team was Pam, Matt's wife. Pam, she is doing our children's ministry. Now, Pam is a veteran of children's ministry. She's done it in the past. But I'll tell you, this was the one I had great concern over. And I was like,
Me too, guys.
yeah, not Pam herself. I mean the position. And I was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah, me
what
too.
are we going to do about this? And I actually asked somebody whose name came up many times unsolicited, and she just felt that this wasn't the time for her. And so I just stopped asking. I wasn't going to ask anybody else. I wasn't going to make something up. And then actually Matt talked to me and he said, hey, I don't know if you know, but my wife would be willing to help out. I called her. We talked. She's been helping out. She let me know she'd help out as long as we need. She's a great team player. And wow, what a difference in just a short time in our children's ministry,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're seeing new things come flying in all the time.
Yeah.
Lindsay, you got kids back there. What do you
That's one thing that I love is that like my kids love going back there. They love Miss Pam, and it's just been really a good experience, I think, for a lot of families. And
Yeah.
yeah.
No doubt. No
So-
doubt.
I like making out with the kids, Pastor, but other than that, she's
Thank
doing a
you
great
for
job.
saying that.
Thank you. Anyway,
Looks like we're hiring soon.
yeah. You mean since January, right? I mean, so, all right, good. Okay.
You threw me off. I was like, no.
So anyway, what a blessing Pam has been. I want to tell you, that woman is on 100% of the time. She sends me texts, sends me emails, makes phone calls. I just so much appreciate her. And I told Matt early on, she is so good. I'm praying that for some reason she loses her job at the Y and she comes to church. But anyway, that's just me. So we just love Pam to death. We're just really blessed, and the kids love her too. The third position I hired. So Stacy, if you listen to this ever again, I want you to know it took 3 people to replace you. That's a good compliment.
That's right.
Yeah.
The third person we hired is Nikita. You got to get a little bit of glimpse of Nikita doing the news there. Let me tell you about Nikita real quick. When I met Nikita the first time, I met Nestor first. Nestor was he's fired up, and I think he gave a communion meditation one time, and I walked up and I said, dude, you were on fire. And he said, well, I want to work at a church and all that stuff. So we talked for such a long time. But every time I talked to Nikita, she'd just giggle. Did you guys, what? You go, hey, Nikita. She go,
I have no idea what you're
I don't
talking
think I've
about.
ever heard her giggle or laugh in my life.
Terrible impression.
I know.
though.
I'm not trying to make an impression of her. But what I'm saying is she's getting, and I don't know whether she was nervous or just doesn't have anything to say. So I'm like, okay. And so when we're looking for this position, Nestor, I brought it up to the elders and I said, hey guys, I want to replace admin. By the way, some people that stepped in really big, Lori Gregory stepped in and helped us
Lori.
out. Really big for a while and just awesome. But I knew I wanted to get an admin on sooner than later. And so I went to the fellas and I said, the elders, and I said, hey, I want to bring this on soon. I wasn't even home yet. And I got a text from Nestor. And he said something like, please put my wife to work or something like that. I'm not sure. No, what he said was, maybe you'd consider Nikita. And so I brought it to the staff, and the staff, with the exception of one, no, I'm kidding. Everybody was like, yeah, man, Nikita would be great. Nikita would be great. So I met with Nikita, talked with her. It didn't take me long at all to see that this is a person we have on the team. So inside of a week, I think I hired her. From the first time I talked to her, I hired her. And I think we all agree, and I don't want to give her a big head, but great hire, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Great hire.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, we said we want, I gave her on her job description, I said, I want notes from the staff meeting. You got 48 hours to get it to us. It's no big rush. You got 48. We get like 48 minutes.
Yeah.
It's
It's
like,
like popped
there.
into our inbox.
I'm like,
Are you serious? Already?
she's checking up on staff. She even checks up on me. Like, did you do what I? Back off, woman. You work for me.
The first meeting that she came to, she wasn't even hired. She was just there to see how
Right.
we do a staff meeting. I look over, she's taking minutes. I'm like, this is the most.
And then she looks up online before she's hired and gets all this stuff.
Like,
right?
oh, hey, what about this idea? What about
Yeah.
this idea? I'm like, hire this woman.
Usually on my text messages list, it's usually the wife, staff people and all
Right.
that. Nikita like pushed to the top.
Like, are you
real
ready?
Quick. I was like, I never hear from Nikita that much, and it's like all of a sudden she's like every morning. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah, she's crazy good. And I'll tell you, if you ladies are listening, I want to let you know what I told the elders last week. I said the only word I used to describe these three is awesome. Just great hires. We are really blessed. You know what I love? You know what I love about hiring? They came from within the church.
Yeah.
Don't you love that when you can hire from? Topher was part of our church,
Yep.
and we hired him. Right? It is such a cool thing when you can hire from within the church. So, man. So staff changes, and I guess the last thing I would hit on before we go into the preview is La Roca.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I had last fall, I was getting pestered by a man named Hadakel Bruno. Lindsay kept sending it to me. This guy's trying to get a hold of you. This guy's trying to get a hold of you. This guy's trying to get a hold of you. So I just finally called him. Never heard of him. And he's a pastor of a church called La Roca, Iglesia La Roca. And he asked if we would be interested in renting out our facility to him and his church. And one thing led to another. I met with him, absolutely connected with the guy. Met with him, talked to him for a couple hours. I asked him to share his vision. He shared his vision. It was really, really a cool experience. So they began meeting on their 7th anniversary. By the way, there was their first Sunday in our building. And Lindsay went down and ran sound for him a little bit and kind of watched. And I watched them online, and wow, we were amazed. But that Sunday, they also came to our service, and they added this firepower, right?
Yeah.
Into
It
our
was so
service.
cool.
And it was really, really enjoyable. And I know some of them probably didn't understand a word I said, because some of them don't speak English. But they were there, and it was really cool. And so as I got to know Hadakel even more and his right-hand buddy, Oscar, it was really, really a blessing. Unfortunately, just a little bit over a month ago on January 16th, spent a few hours with Hadakel at our church, actually, on a work day. And then at 4:00 in the morning on the 17th, I received a call that Hadakel, at the age of 53, died suddenly. Hard to take, and I hardly knew him. I only knew him for a couple months. And I can't imagine the struggle that it placed upon Oscar and, of course, his wife, Sayudis, and it's just been amazing. But I'll tell you something, that church is strong, and they've got some really cool ministry, and I'm going to give Matt a chance to talk a little bit about that in a second. I think we all say, even with the tragedy, even with the challenge, real blessing to Kindred Church as well. I know we're blessing them, and that's what the kingdom is. We bless each other.
That's right.
And they're still carrying on. So if you're listening out there, if anybody's listening from La Roca, we want to let you know we're really glad that you're here.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I want to go into our what is 2020 going to look like? And this is where you guys are going to do a lot of the talking before I finish this out. All right. And I'm just going to simply go by staff members, and I'm going to go by longevity of our staff members. And so we'll start with you, Matt. Matt, give us a little glimpse into 2021.
Sure. I've got 4 areas that I'm going to report on real quick. And the first one.
Sure. That'd be good.
Sure. Okay, cool.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay, what I'm going to do is go to report on 4 different areas.
Okay.
And let's bury that joke.
Yeah.
Can we
Yeah,
cut that
remember-
out? That was awful.
Do you think I'm going to remember that? And then I'm like, what's wrong with the video?
No, but anyways, I got 4 different areas, and one of them is the building, and we are excited about the building. I love coming in. What was really cool this past week is we had a lady come in. She had only been in one time, and that was right at the beginning in June. And she walked in, she was like, "Oh my gosh, this is so great!" And it kind of re-energized me. We've made so much progress, but what we're going to start doing right now is we're going to start adding some finesse now that we finished all of our primary tasks. and renovation. So you guys can
So you mean like chandeliers and
chandeliers.
Sconces.
But yeah. So we're
putting in a spiral staircase that goes nowhere, but it looks
A
cool.
mezzanine.
It looks cool. Yeah. Fireman pulls. No, and so right now we're working with La Roca to actually build a permanent welcome counter up at the front, which will be really nice. I'm also we're working on upgrading our coffee area, and so you guys can expect some changes there as well. And then also we're just kind of doing some directional signage and putting up some stuff around the church that's going to really put a stamp on who we are. And you guys want to hear more about what it's going to look like?
Yes.
You want me to say yes, don't you?
Yeah, tell us.
No. And so that's called a teaser, everyone. You got to stick around.
You're such a tease.
I'm such a tease. No, but it's going to be good stuff, and I'm excited about that. And hey, I'll throw this out there real quick. You were talking about La Roca and our partnership with them.
Yeah.
They have come in and they have helped with different tasks. The last thing they've done this past couple of weeks is they've helping us with some of our electrical issues and things like that. And so expanding some of our electrical needs. And so it's good stuff. And anyways, the second thing I'd like to talk about is some of our small gatherings. And right now we've got a men's group currently going, and we've had some ladies' Bible studies this winter. And what you can expect, though, is in the fall or the spring, I apologize, to look for a men's and a women's rooted group. We're going to get those going again.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's our discipleship
Those are so
group.
great.
Good.
And at one point, we had expanded. We had done 6 total, and so we are getting those going. Also, I'm excited. Rod doesn't even know this, but been working on this after our staff meeting yesterday. We're going to begin having classes again.
What?
Yay.
And so Topher and I kind of talked, and we're kind of targeting Wednesday nights. And the first one we're going to do this spring is the Art of Marriage. This past year has been a really challenging year for families, and we've done the Art of Parenting in the past. And so we're going to start with that, and it's just gold. It's going to be a home run. You guys are going to love it. Love to see you join us for that.
Very cool.
Also, Propel and Men's Breakfast. We're getting those going again, and people have
Great.
missed it.
Yeah.
And so,
And Nikita's Bible studies too are going to be kicking back into gear too, right?
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. And so, yeah, are we going to give her a chance to talk about the women's stuff, or
I think she's done enough.
we're done with you? But ladies, hey, we haven't forgot you. And the same goes with the men's ministry as well. We want to get going again. At one point, we were doing events. And so the first one I'd love to do is let's go axe throwing. Let's go have a good time.
Hey,
I think
I'm
that'd be
there.
cool. I think that'd be a really fun one.
Yeah.
Nikita, we should do something like that.
I think it would be fun, but I know some people that there is no way I'm going to let them throw an axe. One of them is, I love you, son, but I'm not letting Brad. I love you, though, Brad. I love you. I'll
Let's
let
give
you
him the
shoot
big
hoops.
lumberjack. He doesn't need a hatchet.
I can see
Full Viking.
a few people in
Full
your youth
Viking.
group trying to throw them, and I'm like, I'm not in the
That
building.
makes me afraid.
I'm not in the building. But that's a great idea, Matt. I'm excited about it.
we can have axe throwing for the youth group in the building. Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, sure. Just do it in the
cool.
building. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So
Love to see how that one ends. But anyways, let's keep moving. And the last thing I want to talk about is, so basically up till this point, as far as groups together, we're getting rolling, and we're gonna get people back into some community. What's cool is people have naturally done that. They've recognized I need people around me. And so some of the Bible studies that I mentioned, I didn't even start or line up. They just started happening on their own. And so we're going to encourage that ourselves. The last thing is you guys are familiar with our yearly event, Serve Midlow. And the intent always for that was not that it was a one-off thing, but it was just a taste of what we wanted people to do. It, an implementation of what does it look like to love our neighbor as ourselves. Well, we're serving the people around us, and so we're evolving that into a monthly format. And so every month we're going to provide 3 opportunities for people to jump in and just love their neighbor. The first one is our backpack lunch ministry. We've just recently restarted that. The school counselors spoke to Linda Spradlin, our organizer, and they said, hey, we need this, and this would be really welcomed. And so we've restocked our shelves. It's kind of cool because we got them all over, and when they are just filled up. And if you're listening, a lot of people don't even know that Food Line came in and sent in $1,000 scholarship to help us restock our shelves and get going again. Yeah. And so it's really cool to see that going. And so Linda's always looking for volunteers if you want to help with that. Also, we go down to downtown and we support Liberation Family Services. We provide a meal for those veterans every month. And that is something so simple. You can help bring some food. We cannot go in and mingle with them currently, but we're hoping that'll change. But it's so easy to help make something and provide a meal for them. And then lastly, La Roca had already had a fantastic relationship with Feed More. If you're from the RVA area and you're a listener, you know who Feed More is. They do a lot to fight for the needs of the hungry in our area. And so Feed More, La Roca goes and buys food from them, and they distribute food once a month. It's the third Wednesday of every month. And what's cool is we just had one, and it was a really cool event, wasn't it, guys? It just was really cool to see people coming in and out. And I heard that there were over 100 people who they
That's
helped.
awesome.
115.
115 families that were helped. How cool is that, right?
awesome.
And Oscar, I talked to him afterward, just kind of saying, how'd it go? Did you like it? How can we support you more? And he said, Pastor, he said, you need to expect for over 200 families to come next time because they didn't know where we were located this time. And so, hey, if you want to come and help, they need help beforehand, packing food and getting ready. And it's just really cool to see La Roca do their thing. And so those are some things that's going on. So,
Thanks. Thanks,
great.
Matt. Lindsay Lou.
Well, the worship ministry is going to start something new, and it actually starts next Wednesday, March 3rd. I'm really excited. At 7:00, we're going to be having a worship night. And this is something that's been kind of a long time in the making. Last year, a lot of people had brought up, why don't we do worship nights sometimes? And, that had always been a cool idea. But last summer, I really started to hear the Lord impress on me that needed to be part of our identity, not just Sunday mornings.
Sure.
And the thing that kept coming to me, and it's just been nonstop, is I feel like the Lord is saying to be a people of my presence, that we want to be a church that is hungry for the presence of God and desperate to be near him. And so worship nights are going to be a part of our DNA, something that is just an opportunity for us to get together and to spend time listening to God and obviously, worshiping the Lord. But I'm really excited about it. We've got some cool things planned, and our team actually tomorrow night is going to be spending a lot of time in prayer over this upcoming event. So
when's the first one again?
March 3rd. It's a Wednesday night.
What time?
It's 7. Come out and worship, and I'm really excited about it. It's going to be
Very
cool. Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah.
Toaster.
Hey, yeah. So, 2020 was rough for students in school canceling and meeting virtually and all this stuff, and camps being thrown to the wayside. But we were able to do our own thing, right? So CRY didn't meet in person last year. They gave us a package, but they are planning on having camps this summer. So we're signing up for CRY. We're looking forward to that.
You got to start raising money, don't you?
Yeah, we do. And so that's coming up this summer. Super excited. We also have an opportunity to learn more about missions at a conference in Richmond in November. So that's something that I'm looking forward to as well. Taking the students to that. It's in our own city. So
you want to hear something interesting? I don't know how interesting it is. I was here about not even a month, and Tim Cole called me and asked me to go to a meeting, and I went to a meeting downtown Richmond, and it was about this missions conference.
Yeah.
And I remember it was 2016, and I remember him saying, 5 years from now, and I was like, man, that seems so far off. And here it is sitting on top of us.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
He didn't ask me to do anything though. Anyway,
yeah.
So
it's a student conference in November, so we're planning on that. It's a weekend thing in November. Looking
That's
forward
cool.
to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, CECYC was canceled for obvious reasons. But I just got word that and thanks to Matt also for that, that they are sending out materials and resources and things for us to host our own in April. And so
we're
that's
not
coming
going
up.
to risk it, but you go ahead.
Yeah, it's coming up very soon. But I'm planning on it, and we're looking forward to having something for the students.
Yeah, they need it.
Yeah, they really need it.
Yeah.
They really
Kids-
need it. Yeah,
your kids
so,
here at the church really need it. They do.
Yeah,
And I hope that you can get rolling on that.
yeah.
Pam can't be with us. And so I asked her a few things that she was looking forward to this next year. First of all, you guys know this. She installed a new curriculum.
Yeah.
And it's just had a great success. People seem to love it. And I noticed also that she installed service projects. And one of them was bringing food in for the backpack lunch.
Yeah.
And they got, I don't know how many, what was the total number?
Over
of-
500, right?
No, it was over 800, I think, wasn't it? Or close to 800.
Yeah.
And it started out with
You
a
don't
goal
know.
of
Yeah, that's
I was
cool.
going to say 1,000. I was like, maybe I'm way wrong.
know.
it started
it might
out
have
with a
been.
goal of
I
like
thought
75.
that was the goal.
It was over 1,000, right? Yeah, and it was individual items.
Yeah,
I mean, and
yeah.
so
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it started with like
It started with
300 or-
75.
No,
Yeah, it was like 100
It was
or
like,
something.
yeah, really
I heard
low.
a million.
So anyway, she's planning on doing a lot more
That's really cool.
service projects. I think that is really cool. She's definitely got her children's ministry expanding. One thing that I'm looking forward to this year is we're going to hopefully have a vacation Bible school.
Yeah.
And so that'll take a lot more planning. It'll take a lot of volunteers. Some of you need to volunteer for this. And I hope you'll be listening for her talking more about that. So I'm excited what's going on in our children's ministry. Let me give you a couple things, and then we're going to close out. All right? And you guys feel free to input if you'd like. One thing is we have something cool coming up this very next Sunday, and that is we're ordaining 4 elders. That'll be fun, right? And I don't know, be honest, in the history of this church whether they ordained elders before. The 3 elders that were here when I came, they're all gone. Not like disappeared. One moved to Texas, one is living in D.C., and one is not able to attend our church. We hope that'll change down the road, but they're not able to attend our church because of some health challenges. So anyway, we went without elders, and I was not going to lead this church without elders. I led churches without elders before, but they were new churches, and so that was a little bit different. This church being, 15, 16, 17 years old now, that I felt like, no, we got to have elders. So God brought some men into my life and into the life of this church, and they're elders, and we're going to ordain them Sunday. We're going to ordain Kirk Kershaw. We're going to ordain Kevin Caldwell. We're going to ordain Scott Spradlin. We're going to ordain Nestor the mailman. And it's going to be pretty cool. So I hope that you're looking forward to that if you're listening. Another thing I want you to get is that we are going to continue our pursuit of being a faith-based, scripture-loyal, God pursuit church, a kingdom pursuit church. In fact, we were talking yesterday, you're going to start seeing this more and more. The words for Kindred 2021 are one pursuit. We have one pursuit. And so you'll be hearing more about that. But, with the overall vision, I think come a lot of questions as well. Mm-hmm. And so instead of writing down, oh, this is going to happen, I wrote down things that I think we got to work through. All right. The first one was, can we get back to being a complete church?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is we got a lot of people who have yet to come back. Man, we got some people in our church that have never seen this building.
Yeah.
And we lost some people. They left, and we understand that as well. This has been hard to be separate.
Yeah.
But can we get back to normal? That's part of the vision. Are we going to get back there where we're meeting together and we have a lot of our people back? We're doing okay. Right? We're doing better than the national average, that is, for COVID times, but I wonder about that. I wonder, can we improve on our technological outreach? In other words, find new avenues. That's why we're doing the podcast now and YouTube and stuff like that, because we know that some people, that is their new way.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, some people haven't read a book in years because they listen to podcasts or they listen to someone else read to them. And people are going to be doing that. They do that with their education, right? Some kids don't go to a building anymore. They sit and their teacher talks to them online. And some people are doing that with their worship. So can we improve on our technological outreach over this next year? This hit me, and I shared a little bit on Sunday. Can we grow and expand our obvious need for homeless ministry?
Yeah.
Right there with so many people, staying in their cars.
Yeah.
I have this vision. I actually shared it with Hadekel a week or two before he passed about the other side, the bigger side. And I've always believed we're supposed to have that side. I've always believed that God was going to provide it for us or provide us the opportunity for it. And one of the things I think about that other side is, wouldn't it be cool to have, some bathrooms and showers and a kitchen and some places where we set up beds and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where when it gets cold, like we've had some really bad weather in the last couple of weeks, we can invite them in where it's heated, it's covered, we have hot food for them. They can go in and take a shower and all that kind of stuff and just grab some comfort. I know that we're never going to be a permanent home, and I don't think that's our call. All right, those are available. I don't think our call is to build a shelter. Now, if it is, we'll do it. But I just think it'd be cool to have that space and to be able to provide that for them.
Yeah.
Another question. Is this year where we finally get involved with overseas ministries?
Yeah.
Missions. We've been talking about, Matt, since I've been here, haven't we?
Yes.
And
Long overdue.
Yeah, it really is. And it's time. It's time to get involved, don't you think?
I'm surprised that for how long the church has been around, that it hasn't happened.
A lot of churches, the challenge, and I don't know if this is the story of New Venture, what their story was, but the challenge is a lot of times because of finances, missions should still be up front, but because of finances, they set it on the side. And oftentimes the sad truth is, I don't know if it's ever happened here, but when a church is under budget constraints, the first thing they cut are missionaries. Isn't that rough?
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine being overseas and depending upon, even if it's just a $20 check or a $100 check, because you don't go into missions to be a millionaire. And so I'm hoping this year, Mike, you guys, that we can find a mission, be a part of it. Matt and I are hoping to do some traveling over into Europe. We have a couple that I've talked to, Matt's known, and he's talked to, and they're going to be in the States in June, is it?
Yes.
And I'm going to get a chance to meet with them, maybe have lunch with them or coffee with them and talk to them more. I'm really interested in their ministry. And I'm not going to get a whole lot into it. Maybe that'll be a podcast segment someday talking about missions. Here's another question. Can we do more with our building to be used for the community? English is a second language classes. I talked to Angie at La Roca, and she said she'd be glad to help with that. That would be really good because they have people even in their church that wish that they spoke English.
Okay.
And so I thought, how cool would it be to set something like that up? I know we had people in our church say they would help with that. Chris, you know somebody speaks Spanish, don't you?
My wife.
Yeah. So, or how about the field out back? Wouldn't it be cool to clean that all up and have a really neat playground for the kids, maybe even a little picnic area, stuff like that where the kids can use.
Yeah.
And that's going to take some real work. But Gary
Nikita's got it.
She's ready.
I think that would be great. That would be one thing. And here's another one. Can we, this is kind of a silly rhetorical, can we finally start growing again?
Yeah.
One of the challenges of this COVID was we were growing so well in the fall of 2019.
Yeah.
And we really believed that the new building was just going to throw us up over 150 pretty quick because we were running 115, 120 rate. And we were like so excited, like, man, we get in this new building. We're just going to boom, pop up to 150, 200 people. And in fact, I think I told Matt by Easter of next year, we'll be averaging 200 people. It won't be our target date. It won't be our target attendance. And then, of course, COVID changed a lot of things. I want to start growing again.
Yeah.
I want to start reaching people again. So anyway, that's kind of a thing. We want to continue to establish a strong foundation in our vision, right? Yep. We want to make sure we're doing biblical teaching. Mm-hmm. We want to make sure that we're still making disciples.
Amen.
Right? We want to make sure that we understand that it takes great sacrifice to do the work in the kingdom and teach that as well as practice it ourselves. We want to be mission-minded.
Yeah.
Right? And here's my last one. I want to be a risk-taking church.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
We talked about it. You've heard me say it from the pulpit. Matt and I had a long discussion on this one time. That one of the greatest challenges during this crisis or pandemic or whatever is that safety has become a sort of a goal.
Yep.
Even a God, and it's taken place of the things that should be our goal.
Right.
So when I say risk taking, I'm not saying throw off all your masks and start hugging people. I'm not saying that. What I do miss the hugs, by the way. But what I am saying is that I want to trust God more and fear the news less.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of church I want to be. That's the one pursuit that I want to see here at Kindred.
Yeah.
That's good.
Right? Guys, it's so good to be back with you on the show. I know I see you each week, but I mean, this is fun.
Yeah.
It is.
All right. And I forgot to mention, and I'm going to share this with you because I did this last year. First of all, I'm going to Florida soon. Remember when I was doing that last year? That was probably our last podcast.
Yeah.
I'm going to Florida soon. And when I'm gone, we have 2 guest speakers, one on March 14th and one on March 21st. The one on March 14th, you've heard him before. His name, Pastor Matt Smith.
Oh yeah. Oh, that one's me. Oh, okay.
He forgot his date.
I'm just joking.
It is for now. Anyway, finally, the March 21st is Nikita. No, I'm kidding. Is going to be our man, Chris Moore. I'm excited about that, Chris.
Put him
I'm
in the
excited
pulpit.
too.
Let's go.
Yeah, huh?
I'm excited too.
What'd you say, Lindsay?
I didn't say anything.
Oh,
I'm
that's
just
just-
smiling.
Yeah.
I like
like,
to smile.
"I'm not excited."
Smiling's my favorite.
Smiling's my favorite.
She's like, I'm gonna miss that week.
Yeah. She asked me already for the date
Can
on.
I get out of town?
Yeah. So anyway, excited to hear from Christopher too.
Yeah.
So really excited about it. I hope you guys look forward to it. And I'm going to be back that Sunday. So I'm going to get to sit there because I didn't want you to preach your first sermon without me there.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's coming up. Listen, I hope you join us each time we have this. We're looking at like every 2 weeks, I think is what we're talking about. And so every other week we're going to send out a podcast. You're going to hear more about it. Tell your friends about it. We'll have to build up those numbers again. Remember how we used to get the numbers reports? We'll have to build up those numbers again. Some people forgot about us. And so I hope that you'll be with us every other week as we share here at Kindred 360. Now, don't forget, we meet now on Hull Street, 10163.
Yep.
That's
Hull
right.
Street. All right. It's the old Big Lots. And we meet there at the corner of Hull Street and Courthouse, 10 o'clock every Sunday. Would love to have you share with us as we continue our one pursuit. God bless. Have a great week.
You've been listening to the Kindred 360 podcast. If you would like to hear more, be sure to check out our additional podcast, Extra 360. And be sure to subscribe to the Kindred 360 podcast to stay up to date with our most current episodes. We want to thank you for listening today and have a blessed week ahead.